Live with CDP, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor FM. Now here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good morning, everybody. On the Saturday, December 17th, 2022, Season 5, Episode 8 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet, 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210. Tell them that Chris Palme, aka CDP, sent you as well. And also, guys, you can now do pre-orders on the all-electric Cadillac Lyriq or the all-electric Silverado as well. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well on this busy sports day, especially for the Buffalo teams. The Bandits playing tonight at 7 o'clock against the Rock, the Sabres, the Coyotes at 9 o'clock, and, of course, the Bills-Miami game at 8:15 tonight in Orchard Park, New York, where there is going to be a lot of snow there tonight as well. And I'm looking forward to my guest today. I met her a couple weeks ago at the Buffalo Bandits home opener against Albany. Unfortunately, they lost 11-10 to Albany, but her name is Lauren Kirchmyer. I hope I pronounced her last name right. She is the Buffalo Bandettes program coordinator for the National Lacrosse League's Buffalo Bandits, and the ladies do a great job at the KeyBank Center. Bear with me 1 second, and I'm going to bring on Lauren. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. I'm doing okay on this Saturday morning. How's the weather right now in your area?
It's been snowing all morning, so it's a little cold and snowy, but nothing like the storm we had a few weeks ago. So I'm happy that we don't have 5 feet of snow in our yard right now. We have maybe 1 foot of snow.
How much are they expecting today then? I heard 2 to 3 feet.
Yeah, not a crazy amount. I'm happy with 2 feet. That's not too bad. It's easy to shovel. When it's 4 to 5 feet, it gets really heavy and annoying. So I'll take 1 to 2 feet happily.
Wow. And here in Ontario, if we get like 5 inches, people panic. So, yeah. And I really timed it out a couple weeks ago when I went to that Bandits game because the weather didn't look that great. But other than the high winds, it wasn't much of a factor going over there. But glad the game's going to be played tonight at Orchard Park. And I wish I could go to the Bandits game tonight. They're playing the Rock tonight. And I think that's going to be a classic game tonight at 7 o'clock.
Absolutely. The Bandits and Rock games are always very intense, both on the turf and in the stands. There's always a memory to be made at these games, and they're so much fun because they are so close and there's a little bit of a rivalry there. I want to give a shout out, though, to their dance team. We've had a great relationship with them over the years. In the past, we've even been able to perform with them, or they've been able to perform with us on our home turf in the past. So I just want to give them a quick shout out because they've always been very lovely to us.
And I was at a game last year, and I thought they did a great job. And I find their in-game presentation is good too. It's just like Buffalo's. It's exciting. And I've only been to 3 lacrosse games in my life now, but I plan on coming down to some more Rock games this year and also Bandit games as well. If I lived closer to Buffalo, I would probably get season tickets to the Bandits.
Oh, that's so kind of you to say it. They are such a fun game. If anyone's watching and you've never been to a lacrosse game in the first place, you should go, but especially a Bandits game. They're so much fun. They're very high energy. There's always music playing. You're always feeling involved in the crowd. They get you going, and it's such a fun time.
I find the league is similar to what the Canadian Football League, the CFL, is here. It's a fans league. The fans have access to the players, the coaches and stuff, and it's just a great league. And I had such a great time going to the game at the KeyBank Center. Unfortunately, my friends couldn't make it, but I met yourself. I met Ali Brady and Chris Swanson. I've had both of them on my podcast shows as well, and the league has been really supportive of my podcast show as well. And I had Pat Gregor from TSN on about a week and a half ago, and we did a 90-minute show on lacrosse on here.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to watch that one.
Yeah, Pat Gregory. He's from Quebec, Canada, but he's the Halifax Thunderbirds color analyst, and he works on the TSN Game of the Week and some of their TSN.ca games as well. Does a really great job.
That's awesome.
Definitely. I was gonna say, how different was it being back at the home opener this year? Obviously, last year there was restrictions for a while, and then the year before that it was canceled. How hard was it to deal with the pandemic, and how great was it to have you and the team back for the opening night against Albany a couple weeks ago?
This was our first home opener since, oh my gosh, 2019, because COVID started in 2020, right? Yeah. So early or late 2019 was our last home opener that we were able to participate in, because then obviously COVID happened and a whole season went by that we weren't able to participate. And then last season, we weren't at the home opener. We weren't during the regular season, but the Bandits invited us to come back for playoffs. So that was a really fun surprise to be able to run onto the turf for the first time in a long time. And at that game, the first game back after COVID, I was emotional. The girls were emotional, and it was so nice to see the fans excited, to see them welcoming us back with open arms, to see the league welcoming us back with open arms, and to get right back into the swing of things. But the first home opener was so exciting, and I have 8 rookies this season. So to experience the home opener in their eyes, and it's 8 of 12 dancers. So it's a lot of rookies on this team. So to experience the first game through their eyes after doing this for so long was very special and exciting.
Were you a little bit nervous, and were some of the squad members a little bit nervous too, opening night?
I think it's always normal to feel a sense of nervousness across the board. A lot of my veterans felt a little bit of nerves as well, because it has been a little bit of time. One of my veterans hasn't been on the team since the 2018 to 2019 season as well. She took a year off, well, initially a year off to focus on school, and then COVID happened. So she hasn't been back in a few years. So she had some nerves as well to come back after some years off. But it's very normal for all of us to have that little bit of stage fright. What could possibly go wrong? How can we best prepare for that? But we talk about all that in practice. The last Thursday leading up to the game, we just went through it, our practice, like it was a game day. This is what you need to do as soon as you walk in. Next, we're going to be on the field. Our field practice is going to look like this. Then we're going to be greeting fans. Let's go through some questions that you might be getting asked by fans, how we can answer those properly and professionally. And then going through the game, our routines for the game as if it was actually game day. So the girls said that that really helped them feel prepared going in when there was so much unknown.
And it was really nice meeting you and the dance squad as
Mhm.
well. And it was just a great atmosphere. And I was gonna say 11,946 fans on opening night. That is very good for opening night.
Yeah, we have such a great fan base. People always come out and support us, and it's such an honor to be able to perform for so many people in that arena. I know not every team is as blessed with having such a great fan base. So I'm happy we have so many come out to our games, game after game after game. And they travel, which is awesome too. They travel to see the games.
Are you guys gonna be doing a game on the road with the Bandits this year, like a road game that you guys do every year?
We aren't aware of us. We haven't really been invited to any away games, which is totally fine. Our girls have very busy schedules too. So it's kind of nice to be focused on the home games. If we're ever invited to an away game, we'd be more than happy to go and support the team on the road. But we do try to, as a team, go to like a Toronto game, or we go to a Rochester game just to show our support, but be able to sit in the crowd as fans for a game too and watch.
The first question I wanted to ask you, Lauren, for my audience in Ontario. I live in a city called Guelph, which is about 2 hours from Buffalo, hour and a half from the Lewiston Bridge. It's not far from Toronto or Hamilton as well. But can you tell my audience just a little bit about yourself, and how did the Buffalo Bandettes start up with the franchise back in 1992? This is their, what, 30th year?
I will say the Bandettes haven't been around with the entirety of the Bandits. They
Okay.
started almost 20 years ago. Next year will be the big milestone year if
Wow.
the math is correct.
Okay.
But I started off as a dancer. I grew up dancing in a suburb of Buffalo, New York. Trained in all different styles of dance. And growing up, I started going to Bandits games when I was about 8 years old. And some of the people from my dance studio were dancing for the Bandettes at the time. So it was nice to go out and support them and see them dancing at a game that I loved going to for a team that I loved supporting. And I told my parents, I go, when I'm older, I'm going to dance for this team. So my first year auditioning, I was 19 or 20, and I actually didn't make the team my first year. And I love telling this story to people who hope to make the team, who are auditioning for the team year after year, because I didn't make it my first year. It was a hard thing to grasp because I wanted it for so long, but it made me work even harder. I really grew as a person. I worked on my public speaking. I worked on my dancing a little bit more. And then I came back the next year with a vengeance. I'm like, I'm going to make it this year. And I did. And then I danced on the team for 4 years, had a couple years off where I just helped with the team a little bit, doing some choreography and working on their social media. And then I took over for the program in the 2017 to 2018 season. The Bandettes themselves actually started with the Jills, who were the cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills. And they were asked if they could have some of their dancers stay after practice and work on some routines that they could do at the Bandits games. So the first official Bandettes were actually Buffalo Jills. And then from there, after, I hope the alumni don't judge me for this, it was either 2 years or 3 years, they were like, we're going to branch off and make our own team. So their first official audition was 19 seasons ago. So next year will be the big 20th reunion. So I'm hoping to do something fun with the alumni. I know they're very eager as well.
Or you can count on me coming back to a game this year and in the future as well. And I love hearing stories from my guests as well, and that your stories as well. Sometimes we all face rejection or disappointment in life, but if it's something that you have a passion for, don't give up. I've already been rejected a few times on radio jobs, but this is something I'm not giving up on. This is my dream, and I just love hearing my guest stories as well.
Yeah, if there's something that you're ever like, your heart is in it. If that's what you really want, there's a way to achieve that goal. So luckily I was able to get mine a year later. But it does take hard work. There's a girl on my team this year. I should say woman. I need to get better at that. There's a young woman on the team this year who auditioned a few years ago and she didn't make it. And she came back this year and I looked at her, I go, did you audition for this team before? You seem very familiar. Your name is familiar. And she goes, yes, thank you for remembering me. And then I told her after the audition, I go, you came back super strong. You had danced bigger than you did before. You really caught my eye. And I'm really proud of you for how far you've come in that time. So she's very excited to have made the team this year.
That is an awesome story, and that's another reason I love doing this podcast, is hearing my guest stories and stuff like that, and stories of people not giving up on stuff. If this is something you really want, and sometimes, like I said, things don't always go smoothly, but you never give up, and that's a great story to hear that as well.
Thanks. I do apologize for anyone watching too. I actually didn't have a voice yesterday, so I might be drinking a lot of water as I am talking, just to make sure I can continue to speak.
I cheat too. I bring water too. Thankfully, like I said, I got my bottle of water because our water shut off here today is going to last 8 to 9 hours. So
that's crazy. I hope it clears sooner than that.
Yeah, things happen. So sometimes you have to prepare for the unexpected.
Yeah,
definitely. This leads to my next question, Lauren. Where did you attend school, and did you have any mentor or mentors in the dancing profession when you first started out?
Yeah, I went to Buffalo State College. That's where I received a communication studies major, and then I was also a dance minor. And it was when I was in school that I auditioned for the Bandettes and made the team. For mentors, I had my dance teacher growing up. Her name is Patty Pulowski, and she's like a second mom to me. I still work with her to this day. I teach at her dance studio. And she has been fantastic, such a great role model, as has the rest of the faculty. We're such a close family. We're not just friends, we're not just colleagues, but we grew up at the studio together. So she's a huge mentor to me. I also teach at another studio, Ellen Puckett. Love you. She is also a fantastic role model to me. And then my coaches growing up, I had Jacqueline and Aaron as my coaches, and they were great. They were such a awesome team together too. And then Erin was my coach throughout the entirety of my time on the team. Jacqueline stepped down after a few years of me on the team. And Erin is still very close to me to this day. And I have her judge at auditions because she's been through the process as well. She knows exactly what we're looking for. She knows the history of the team. And she's just a fantastic friend too. She'll come to junior Bandettes and see the kids that hope to maybe be on the turf someday too, or have a professional career of their own. So I would say those are three big mentors to me, the three people who really helped train me and guide me growing up.
And the Bandettes are really the only professional dance squad left in that area, right?
Yeah, right now we're the only pro dance team in Buffalo and most of the surrounding area too. If I'm wrong, please someone reach out to me and let me know. I'd be happy to share my support for you as well. But yeah, as of right now, from what I'm aware, we're the only professional team in the area.
I'm hoping one day the Bills bring back the Jills, because when I used to go to Bills games, I had a good time tailgating before the game and meeting some of their squad and really nice people that you meet as well. And over the years, and I was just disappointed that didn't bring him back. And I think the Sabres should consider bringing some kind of ice squad. You see the Philadelphia Flyers and some other teams that have their squads and stuff like that. So I really would like that. And the Toronto Argonauts here in Toronto, they have cheerleaders or a dance squad too, but they have a couple of guys on it. And I think it's great seeing guys on the dance team and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I'm very open. I really tried to push it this year that I'm not looking just for females. If there's ever a male that wants to audition, please come. I'm not gonna tell you no just because you're a male or maybe you identify it with a different pronoun. But I am very welcome to continuing to grow this team and to just let everyone who wants to have a chance to dance to be able to dance. So we finally had our first couple of junior Bandettes that were males, which is really fun. So I'm hoping that continues to come across in the future.
That is awesome. But unfortunately, as much as I would like to, I can't dance. I don't have any dancing or singing ability. So, but yeah, I think that's great. Now I see more of it in professional sports. And if guys want to do it and they're good at it, and it's not easy, you have to be athletic. There's a skill to it as well.
Absolutely. As long as you can keep up and you're going to fit in with the team, why would I say no? If it's a good camaraderie and you're talented, I'd be more than happy to consider you for the team.
That's awesome. This leads to my next question. Can you tell us, Lauren, about the process of becoming a Buffalo Bandette, and what do you and the I don't know if you have other coaches with you look for in a Bandette for a dance squad leader or member?
Yeah, we hold a prep class leading up to auditions to help people prepare and kind of ask those questions to get to know what it is we're looking for. Every year for auditions, I try to change something up a tiny bit just so you don't come in completely prepared, just so we can see what happens if something unexpected were to happen. But with that, I always look for people who, number one, are just kind-hearted and good people, because we're not just representing yourself, but you're representing the Bandettes, you're representing the Bandits, and you're representing the NLL. So I want to make sure that you are a good person and you're kind-hearted at the end of the day, and that you're going to get along with your teammates. At the audition, like the first day of auditions, it's all strictly dance. I see if they can perform, if they can use their face and have personality, if they have flexibility, because we do kick, we do have splits and routines, we have a kick line routine, we do leaps, so making sure that their body is able to do those certain things. This year I was like, all right, we have a really strong group of people coming, let's add some more technical elements to audition day. So adding some more turns into the choreography or pirouettes. And then I also we do look at appearance a little bit, just because you are going to be dancing in front of thousands of people in crop tops and skirts. So we just want to make sure you feel comfortable in that sort of uniform. But we also never have uniforms that are too revealing either. So we want to make sure people feel comfortable. And then we have them just tell us a little bit about themselves at auditions too. So why do you want to be a Bandette? what is it that inspires you to come back and dance year after year? So just kind of getting to know them a little bit. And then from there, we bring people in for a second round. And with that, they sit down and do an interview with myself and with a representative from Human Resources. And we just get to know their personality a little bit more, dive a little bit deeper into why they want to be on the team, what they can bring to the team, their experience, their own backgrounds, and form a team from there. So it's dancing and personality kind of combined into one.
Do you have a say in the uniforms, the outfits, or is it the Buffalo Bandits that have the say?
It's luckily myself, but then I also do go to the team for their opinion, specifically my captains. So a few years ago, we were able to order a new set of uniforms, and they're stunning. And I want to give a quick shout out to Justina. She is a former Bandette herself who now works for a uniform company, and she's been great. If I have any ideas or this is what I'm hoping to get for the team, for junior bandettes, ordering palms and everything, I go through her, and she's fantastic. But I look to my own team, like, what is it that you feel like we're missing? What is it that you feel like would be more comfortable for you to perform at your best? So I kind of pick their brains and then have them try on samples, because they're the ones who are going to be dancing on the field in that uniform, not me. I'm done with that unless we do an alumni routine. So I want to make sure that they're feeling as comfortable as possible. So getting them to be involved in that process, because I think it is important to include them and get their opinions so that they can leave a little legacy too. Like, I helped pick out that uniform, you know?
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you this as well. How much volunteer work or charity work do you do within the community as well?
We try to. It kind of depends on what opportunities come up in the process. We had the opportunity to be involved with the oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. The One Buffalo Day of Play or something like that up at the on the reservation with the Seneca Nation. So that was a fantastic thing that we were able to be involved in back in, I believe it was September. We've been able to go to fundraisers in the past, benefits to help people raise money for people who are in need. Sometimes we just get to go to dance studios or cheer clinics and work with children and help them with their performances and routines. In the past, we've been able to judge at cheer competitions. So it's kind of all across the board and different things that we can get involved in. But if anyone's interested in having us, feel free to reach out to us on social media. I manage our accounts, so the message will go right to me. Or you can email us at bandettes@bandits.com, and we can see if we can get involved in your upcoming event.
And I have all your social media accounts down there as well. I was looking for your website, but I couldn't find it, so I just used your Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages.
Yeah, we don't have a website right now. Maybe down the line we can have something like that. But our social media, we try to keep that as up to date as possible. And I'm checking it daily. So if you do send us a message, like I said, it would go directly to me, and I'll be the one corresponding with you.
Are you guys still doing? Did you guys ever do calendars, or you guys have never done the calendars?
We've never done one to my knowledge, and that is something I would love to do, especially to help us raise a little bit of money. If we were to do a calendar, I would love for some of that money to go back into the community through maybe the foundation at the arena. But that is something I'm hoping to do in the future, but right now we don't do.
Okay, if you guys ever do decide, let me know and I'd be happy. I'm still one of these old school guys. I like to have 2, 3 calendars, and I like to write a lot of stuff down. I know with smartphones, you can put everything on your phone, but I'm still old school with the calendars.
There's something different about just being able to write it down, and like I feel like I believe in that. If you write it down, you remember it a little bit more. So
Yes.
in the same way, I like to write things down in my calendar. I have one at home, I have one at work, and then I have one on my phone. So my phone is my technical one, but I do believe that writing it down physically and seeing it for yourself in your own handwriting does help you remember things a little bit better.
So I'm not alone on this.
Nope, not at all.
Definitely. Now, we already talked a little bit about this question before, but how difficult was it during the pandemic when the NLL was shut down and the restrictions? How did you get the girls to keep like doing their dancing and try to stay ready, prepared for when the season did come back and you guys were recalled?
We definitely were a little bit more I don't want to say hopeful, but we thought that maybe it was only going to be about 2 weeks at first. We're like, okay, we'll probably not be able to perform at these couple of games, but we'll be back up and running by this time. So I just like keep stretching at home. We hopped on Zoom calls from time to time, just to have like a little team bonding when we couldn't physically be together. But then after a while, when it became summer and then we found out we weren't going to be able to come back that next season, I was like, you know what? All of our lives are different than they were when the team had its last auditions. So you just need to do what you want in your life. So some people moved, some people got married, some people got new jobs. So our lives are all changing ourselves. I got a dog. So just finding that balance of like bringing your personal life back and focusing on that for a little bit, which was nice. And then when we did get offered to come back for playoffs from last season, I was like, I don't know if any of you have been dancing. We were offered this opportunity to come back. How many of you would be interested? And 11 of the 12 were able to come back. Some were like, oh, I've been dancing, I've been stretching, I'm ready to go. And some were like, oh, I haven't really been doing anything, but we ended up doing routines from the season before. So we didn't have to learn brand new choreography. It was stuff that was already in our bodies. It just needed to kind of be fine-tuned a little bit. And I was so impressed with how quickly they were able to come back together as a team after being away for a little bit of time. So it was just an interesting time off. But yeah, being able to focus and kind of fine tune what we wanted in our personal lives and then being able to come back together was nice.
I found with the pandemic as well, I appreciate things more than I did before. Because
Yeah,
sometimes when something's taken away from you, you don't really truly appreciate it and stuff like that. And I actually started my podcast during the worst of the pandemic, and this really helped me get through the 2 years where you couldn't really see a lot of people and stuff like that.
mhm,
And as much as everyone talks about the negatives of social media and technology, there are a lot of positives as well.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, and mentioned a dog. I'm a big dog person myself. What's the name of your dog and what kind of breed?
His name is Romeo, and he's a little mad at me right now because I had to put him in his crate so he wouldn't be interrupting us today. But he's such a sweetie. He's a mixed breed. We rescued him from a rescue here in Buffalo,
Awesome.
and I'm one of those dog moms. I did the DNA testing to see what his breed background is, just because with him being a rescue, I wanted to know a little bit more of his personality and maybe why he does some of the things he does. So he's a German Shepherd, Australian cattle dog, pit bull, and then a little bit poodle, a little bit Cocker Spaniel, and a little bit Chow Chow. So he's a little bit of a lot.
Wow, wow. But yeah, I volunteered at a local humane society here for 10 years, and any cats or dogs I've ever had, I've always adopted. And I always tell people adopt, don't shop. And I think that's great what you do as well.
Well, thank you. I love him. He's been such a fun addition to our family most of the time. All dogs have their little moments, but yeah, I'm so happy we brought him into our lives.
Does he have any Buffalo Bandettes or Bandits gear or Bills stuff? I know in this
That,
over in Buffalo. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, it's okay. You can finish your question.
No, I noticed going over to Buffalo and all the pet stores over there, they have so much Bills and Sabres stuff for pets and stuff like that.
He has a Bills bandana and he has a Bills bow tie. He doesn't have anything Sabres and he doesn't have anything Bandits, but maybe I'll change that soon.
And I managed to get my first Bandits hat and toque. We call them toques here in Canada. So now I'm gonna have to get a Bandits T-shirt the next time I come over. I love the logo. I have the hat on right now. I love the logo and I love the colors, and I hope they never change them like the Sabres and Bills did with their uniforms.
Yeah, it's been the same logo for a long time, or at least little tweaks to it, but mostly the same. And I think it's funny because my college colors were also orange and black. The Bandits colors are orange and black, and then the one studio I teach at is orange and black. I'm like, I have a really big orange and black pride, apparently.
I have an idea for the Sabres. They should have one home game where it's Bandits night at the Sabres game and they wear black and orange Sabres jerseys. They'll look like the Bandits.
They did that for our local baseball team, the Buffalo Bisons. They were able to do that this
Ye-
summer. And they had a Bandits night and had a bunch of different Bandits like a Bandits jersey, Bandits hats that people could buy. So they invited the Bandettes to be at that over the summer as well. So that was a lot of fun.
They're a great organization, and Pat Malacaro, I've befriended. He had me down there for a weekend covering the team as a media member, working up in the press box,
Oh,
60
fun.
degrees in the press box, freezing, but
Yeah.
interviewing players and coaches. Really good guy and stuff like that. And that's what I like about Buffalo. All the teams seem to support each other.
Yeah, I love being able to see how they intertwine with each other. But that one Buffalo mentality and being able to be there for each other and show that we're not just teams, we're not just athletes, but we also care about the city that we play or perform for. So being able to support each other in the process as well is really fun.
And I go over to your area a lot for shopping or sporting events, and to me, it's like a second home to me. If I was going to choose somewhere to live in the states or get a job in radio, I would love to be Western New York or the Buffalo area, because a lot of the media members and a lot of the guys from all the teams have been really supportive of my podcast show and my media work.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Yeah, I love this community. I almost moved away when I was in college just because I was like, "Oh, I'm young. This is my time to move." But there was something that stopped me, and I was like, I just have so much heart for where I live. I love seeing how we're growing and becoming a bigger city, and seeing people excited about visiting here. So it is such a special community that people, I think, don't realize how nice it is if you're not from here originally. But yeah, people, if you haven't visited Buffalo before, I highly encourage you to do so.
And I always feel safe when I go to the KeyBank Center. I find it's in a nice area. It's convenient to the highway. It's
Mhm.
about 7 minutes from the Peace Bridge. So people in Ontario, if you haven't been to a Bandits game, please check it out. So easy to get to. There's plenty of parking, and there's a casino there. There's the arena. There's nice restaurants and bars and pubs there as well.
Yeah, there's lots to do here.
So are you okay for a few more questions?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. This one I had to ask you as well. I'm just curious, what is a game week like for the Buffalo Bandettes and in yourself in preparing for a home game at the KeyBank Center and also on game day as well, or game night, I should say?
It varies on what's happening at that game. So for the home opener, like I said, it was a lot of just preparing the Bandettes to make sure that they felt as prepared as possible, getting as many questions answered as I could, because for many of them, it was their first game ever. So that was my focus for that game. This upcoming game, we're doing the same routines. So it's going to be a little bit easier going into, a little bit smoother. But then we have 2 games coming up that are going to be with our junior Bandettes, which I love our junior program, being able to work with so many children and just give them the opportunity to perform on the turf in front of all these fans. It's so much fun. But those games I do have to do a lot of preparation for, because I have 100 kids in each session. So
Wow.
making sure that their parents are prepared, that their questions are answered, or whoever is bringing them to the program. Making sure they know when our rehearsals are going to be, giving them videos of the routine so their kids could practice at home, ordering all the t-shirts. And thank you to Dan from the Bandits for helping me with this as well. He ordered all the t-shirts for me and helped with our registration process. Keeping an eye on registration too, because we sold out in a day. 200 spots sold out in a day, which was incredible. Yeah, and then ordering all the t-shirts, ordering all the pom-poms, making sure on game day I have volunteers ready to go, or not volunteers, but helpers ready to go to help me organize the kids, bring them for bathroom visits when we're working on the turf, if they need to go use the restroom. So having those extra hands helping throughout the day. So that takes a little bit more preparation. And then if there's ever a theme day, like there's a beach game or beach day game theme this year, that was hard to say. So we're going to try and play into that. So how can our choreography be incorporated into that theme for that game? Can we change something up in a uniform or something along those lines? So it really depends on the game, how we need to prepare for it.
What do you love the most about being the program coordinator, and what are some of the hardest aspects of it as well?
I'll start with the harder part first. One of the harder things is at times you do need to have serious conversations with with a teammate or two. There might be times where I have to cut someone who I care for deeply, but I'm like, you just didn't make it this year. I'm really sorry. And saying those no's to the hopefuls that come out every year, because we do only have 12 spots. This year we had 50 people audition. So that's a lot of no's that you have to give. And that's really hard because I don't like having to feel like I'm the one who cut someone's dream from happening. So I think that side of things is difficult. But on the plus side, the nice things about are some of the things I love. One is that juniors program. Just I love working with the kids and seeing them live in that moment and leave the turf feeling so excited. Like I just performed at a Bandits game in front of thousands of people. So seeing them walk away excited is so fun. I love working with the teams that I have every year. This year's team, they're just so kind-hearted and so bonded together. And so very early on in the season, seeing that. So seeing them become a sisterhood together, almost like their own little sorority, is such a fun process to see. And then the alumni, I love being able to still be connected with them, to see them in the stands, not just supporting the Bandits, but supporting the Bandettes, and all of us just coming together because we love Bandit Land so much, to be there for the fans, to be there for the players, to be there for the support staff. And just seeing the Bandit Land, Bandette family become what it is. It's such a cool process to be part of.
Wow, that is great stuff. Now I got to ask you this one. This one's on the top of my head. I've learned how to ad-lib. Who's responsible for picking the music selection for the dance squad at the games?
It depends on who choreographs it. So I choreograph about half of the routines, and I've been part of the team for a long time now, so I kind of have a feel for what maybe the fans will like. And sometimes I run those song ideas by my boyfriend or by my captains or by my parents, because I'm like, it's such different perspectives. So I want to see how their reaction may be to that song choice. For my Bandettes who choreograph, or even if I bring in an alumni Bandette to come choreograph, I kind of listen to their ideas a little bit more, especially if it's their first time ever choreographing. My coach did the same thing to me my first time ever choreographing. She was like, nope, not that song. Nope, not that song. Nope, I love that song, but it's not for Bandit Land. So because it's an arena, because it's a high energy environment, you want to make sure it's the right fit so that people are excited to hear that song or they're excited to see that dance. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. And I did it for one of my girls this season. Like, I like this song. I'm not sold on it just yet. So being able to work with them in that way and explaining, like, you need to think of the fans. You need to think of the fans. This needs to be a song that they're going to be excited for. That's family friendly. So it's a lot of thought. So anyone who questions our song choices, know we put so much thought into making sure it's the right one for Bandit Land.
That's why I wanted to ask you about that. I was just curious about that. And I think they do a great job with the game that you did with Albany, but I also like the in-game arena host, Allie Brady. She does a great job. Chris Swanson, I think it's Swenson. He's been on my podcast. He does a great job. And I like the fact they have music on during the play, and Chris does a little bit of commentary as well. I just think the whole game presentation by the Buffalo Bandits and even the Toronto Rock game I went to last year is outstanding.
Yeah, we have a great team. And Allie, I haven't been able to get to know too much just yet because I think she started during the year that we weren't really as involved. But Chris has been fantastic. He's such a supporter of us. And anytime the girls run, or the Bandettes run off of the turf, he always goes, and that's your Bandettes. And we now say that at practice. If they do something really good, I go, and that's your Bandette. So I don't even know if he knows that we do that, but he's a very big supporter from what I'm aware of our team. And I thank him for liking our posts on social media.
Yeah, I met him and his son during the game as well, and I brought him some coffee, Chris, and he was all happy about that. I guess you can't get them over in the states, so he was great, and I just think the whole presentation is great. I think it's as important as the game itself. It just adds to the game experience.
Yeah, they have a game day presentation team who really sits down and schedules everything. And I do apologize to them again. There was a little hiccup on our end at the last game. We didn't run out when we were supposed to, and I feel so bad because I don't want to be a cause for anything to go wrong in a game. But we've worked it out. We have a plan for the next game, and they sit down and they're like, at this time during halftime, this is when you're going to perform, and this is going to happen leading into the start of the game. This is the time the bagpiper is going. This is the time the Bandettes are performing. This is the time the anthems. They sit down and plan out everything. So they deserve a lot of recognition because a lot of work goes into making sure the game goes smoothly.
Now, during a game night, what time do you and the dance team, the Bandettes, have to be at the arena for approximately?
That also depends on what's happening in that game. So at the home opener was when we did our photo shoot for our poster. So hopefully our posters will be ready within the next couple of games so we can hand those out to fans. So that we had to be there around 3:15 for a 7:30 game. For juniors, we're there even earlier, around 1:30 or 2 o'clock, so that we can be there and work with the kids on the turf. But for like a typical game, we're usually there around 4:30, and then we have an hour of practice on the field to run through all of our routines for that day. And then we have a little time to just relax, eat, do our hair and makeup, and get ready for hanging out with the fans. So it really depends on what's happening before the game.
I'm going to put you on the spot with this one.
Okay.
This question: what is your favorite moment with the Bandettes
Mhm.
and the Buffalo Bandits? And were you a lacrosse? I guess you answered that already when you were a lacrosse fan. That last part you've already answered. I'm learning to do listening schedules, but what is your one of your favorite moments with the dance squad and the Bandits so far in your time?
I love the bonding moments of all of us when we can just hang out during a game. Like if it is that time frame between our rehearsals and going out to greet fans, because that's when you really start to get to know each other. I love seeing the progression of the Bandettes each season, like seeing where they start to how they end the season and how far they come together. Um, but memories, there was a game when I was on the team, and if there were fans from this far before, you know this already, but we were wearing the guys' jerseys, and we never practiced in them. Just put them on, ran. It was like their away jerseys. Ran onto the field and did the routine, and my jersey got stuck over my head. And there was a someone on the team who ended up actually, she wasn't performing at that game, but she was able to film it for us. And my coach was like, "You need to put this video on YouTube. I need to show it to my mom and my friends." Next thing I know, this video just went viral. It was all over. So that was a moment that we all were like, "What just happened? How did that happen? Why is this viral?" But also just kind of enjoying the moment with it. And we still crack up to this day when it pops up like in our Facebook memories. So that's one of those moments. And then as a coach, one of my favorite moments was New Kids on the Block came into town a few years ago, and they invited the Bandettes to come perform on stage with them for two songs. So having that extra opportunity, because obviously we love Bandit Land, we love performing in Bandit Land, we love hanging out with the fans and seeing the kids getting excited, but to be recognized by a band that's so well known and so popular, and for them wanting to have us be part of their concert was really special.
Does every team in the National Lacrosse League have a dance team, or is it just certain teams?
Only certain teams. There are some teams who have programs even bigger than ours. I think San Diego has a team that's at least twice the size of ours, and they have girls that come down on silks from the ceiling. Like what they do is so much bigger than what we're able to do. And then there's some teams that don't have any dance teams. So it's interesting to see how different it is across the league, but that's one of my favorite things too, because it's really particular to that team and that town and that game day experience. So I like that we're all very different from each other.
I'm also looking forward to, I'm hoping not this year, but next year to catch a game in Las Vegas to see the Las Vegas Desert Dogs play.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Hopefully the Bandits will, I don't think they're out in Las Vegas this year, but I'm hoping maybe in the future they'll have a game out in Las Vegas against them.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That would be a fun excuse to go out to Vegas for a day. Well, a few days.
What is your all-time favorite Bandits game you've seen so far?
Oh gosh. There have been several. I loved what they did with Tavares when he retired and they put his jersey up. That was a really special moment because I've been able to watch his career for so long. I wasn't there for the first few seasons, but I was able to watch several of them as a kid growing up. So to see him being recognized for everything he did was a really cool game to witness. And then the tougher side of me, I loved seeing, I can't remember which season it was, but there was like a bench clearing brawl where both teams just left the players' bench and got into a huge fight. Not that I'm condoning fighting by any means, but that was one of those, I've never seen something like that before. So to see everyone go onto the turf, I was like, this rarely ever happens in sports. What an interesting thing to witness. But that one stands out to me. And then I loved several years ago, they used to do all-star games. So to see players from all the teams come together and just play a game was a really cool thing to even be part of. We were able to dance at that game because it was held in Buffalo. So to see the all-stars from the different teams come play together was neat.
I hope they bring that back. And I'm still learning about the league, and I just can't wait to go to more Rock games here in Hamilton and also in Buffalo. I'm looking forward to it. It's just such a great league. My opinion of it is it's a part hockey and it's part basketball.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Other people have said that to me too. And I think that's a great way of explaining it to someone who doesn't know. And I just like to say though, just go to a game and experience it because it's so different than any other sport you'll ever experience. It's such a different environment, but in the best way.
And your radio TV guy does a great job too. John Gerkler. He came on my show about a year ago and gave me an hour of his time. And he has a tremendous passion for the sport, and he does such a great job. I liked his work with the Sabres, but I think for a reason he was meant to be with the Buffalo Bandits. Things I believe in life happen for a reason.
Absolutely, absolutely, and he does a great job.
Absolutely. Last question I wanted to ask you as well. I'm actually going to put you on the spot with this other part of it. Can you just tell my audience why they should attend a Buffalo Bandits game or a National Lacrosse League game in 2022, 2023?
I would say not only just to support the team and to come out and have a fun night out with your friends and family, but lacrosse is still a growing sport and it has deep roots as well with at least our team. We're really trying to connect with the Seneca Nation territory. So to be able to spread the roots of how lacrosse began, but then also just spread this or grow the sport as a whole. So going to a lacrosse game is going to help show that care for that, to be able to talk about the roots of lacrosse and help grow the sport, help grow the knowledge of the sport. And they're just so fun. So just come to a game and you'll want to go back. You'll want to go back. They're a good time.
I filmed a game this year in the summer on camera for a game in Six Nations, and it's Six Nations is just outside of Brantford, Ontario, and they love it. That's where the game was born here, and they love it, and it was packed, and it is a really fast-paced sport to film on camera as well. So I have a lot of respect for the camera guys too, because it's just fast paced, and you have to watch that ball too because it's a little white ball and it moves so quick, and that's what I love about the game. The fans too are a part of the game.
Yeah, and the players too. They just love playing for the Bandits. They love Bandit Land. They love seeing the fans. And I've seen so many of them go out of their way to take a picture with the fan or to sign an autograph with a fan. Even my cousin, Sammy, she loves the Bandits, and she loves Josh Byrne, and she ran into him at a restaurant, and he took the time to take a picture with her and sign her jersey for her for Christmas. So the players really do care about the team, they care about the league, and they care about the community and the fans.
Absolutely. Last question, I promise. And I'm going to put you on the spot with this.
Okay.
What are your predictions for the Miami Buffalo Bills game tonight, the Bandits Rock game, and the Sabres Coyotes game? And I'm not sure if you're a chicken wing fan or not, but if you are, where is the best place to get chicken wings in Buffalo? I've had them at a few places, but I thought I'd ask you.
Okay. Well, obviously, I want Buffalo to win every single game. I think they're going to win every game. I'm actually going to a former Bandette's house to watch the game tonight. Her birthday was yesterday. So I'm excited to spend some time with her watching the game and hopefully having the Bandits game on my phone or another TV. I think we have a slight advantage with it snowing. The Bills are very comfortable, or at least have played in those elements before, where Miami is used to sunshine. So I think we hopefully have a small advantage with that. Obviously, I want the Bandits and the Sabres to win, and they will win. I'm going to put that in the universe. For wings, I do love wings. I get teased because I'm a very plain Jane. I'm not good with heat. I can't do spicy food. My mouth just lights on fire, and I can't do it. So I'm just a fan of like a plain wing or a garlic parm. And I do like barbell wings. And I like Gabriel's Gate in downtown Buffalo. Not that I'm endorsing them. Those are just my preferences.
How far is that from the arena? Because I've actually heard of that place.
Barbell's a little bit further, but Gabriel's Gate is probably 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. I think I'm going to have to check that place out the next time I come before the game.
Yeah, I like their food and I like their environment. So I haven't been there much since COVID, but in the past when I've been, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can't eat them every week or every month or whatever, but if I go to Buffalo for a trip, it's a nice treat to have a nice cold beer, a local beer with some wings before a sporting event. It's just part of Buffalo, the Buffalo experience. So I do apologize for keeping you over 45 minutes, but I want to say, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on live with CDP Sports Talk. This is my 228th episode. Before I let you go, where can my audience follow the Bandettes and the Bandits as well on social media and stuff like that?
Yeah, I just want to thank you again, Chris, for having me on and be able to talk about the Bandettes as well. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bandettes or at Bandettes Buffalo. There's one that's slightly different, but usually if you type at Bandettes, it'll pop up.
Definitely. And I'm hoping to see you and the squad again this season for another game and hopefully a win this time.
Yeah, that would be lots of fun, especially when we win. We're able to do a victory lap with the guys on the turf, and just seeing the fans so excited after a win. Those are really fun moments too, to run around and see all the fans after a win. That's a highlight for the team. But yeah, if anyone hasn't been to a game, again, I really encourage you to please come out and show your support. And if you have, come back, say hello. I'm usually standing out there with the Bandettes at games as well, just off to the side, making sure that nothing in particular comes up. Yeah, feel free to come over and say hello.
Okay. I'm going to be going to my camera work at noontime, but tonight when I get home, I will download this to audio platforms, and I'll definitely send the Bandettes and yourself a copy of this podcast show, and it will be on my YouTube channel as soon as we're finished this as well.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you including me in this.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for coming on, and definitely look forward to all 3 games tonight, and I'll have to try to watch the Bandits Rock game and the Bills Dolphins game at the same time as well.
Anything is possible if you just put a little planning into it.
Absolutely. So I hope you have a great day. Stay safe with the snow, and go Bandits, and good luck to the Bills tonight. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, by the way. I'm hoping to see a Philadelphia Buffalo Super Bowl.
That'd be really cool. But yeah, let's go Buffalo.
Okay. They're my second favorite team. So
awesome.
All right. Well, have a great day, Lauren, and go Bandits and Bandettes. And thank you so much again for coming on season 5, episode 8 of Live with CDP Sports Talk.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed season 5, episode 8 today with Lauren Kirchmyer. She is the program coordinator for the Buffalo Bandettes cheerleading or dance team for the Buffalo Bandits. If you guys have never been to a National Lacrosse League game in Buffalo at the KeyBank Center, check out bandits.com for tickets. It's 5 minutes from the Peace Bridge, 7 minutes, not very far. It's easy to get to, lots of parking. It's a great facility and it's a great sport. Or even check out the Toronto Rock down at the First Ontario Center in downtown Hamilton. And again, the Bandits take on the Rock tonight at 7 o'clock. It'll be on tsn.ca or ESPN Plus as well. And the Bills game is at 8:15 on the NFL Network and also TSN here in Canada against Miami and Buffalo. And then the Sabres take on the Coyotes at 9 o'clock as well. Before we wrap up this podcast show, guys, the next live with CDP Sports Talk, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Monday, December 19th at 6 o'clock. My guest is Jason Furman. He is the host of the Power 32 NFL podcast and 3rd and 3 podcast as well. And we're going to talk some National Football League with him and also the playoff scenarios. And he's also a San Francisco 49er fan as well. So hopefully you guys can tune into season 5, episode 9, this Monday, December 19th at 6 o'clock Eastern again with Jason Furman, the host of the Power 32 NFL podcast, 3rd and 3 podcast. And they are available on YouTube channels if you guys want to check out their podcast shows as well. Also, guys, before we wrap this up, just want to put this on. Live with CDP Sports Talk is now live streamed on 5 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn as well. You guys can also check out my website, beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. That's beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. All my podcast shows, previous episodes, and all my social media work and content is on there as well. Also, guys, you guys can check out the National Lacrosse League's website at NLL.com. That's NLL.com for the National Lacrosse League's website. And also, guys, the Bandits website is bandits.com as well. You guys can also follow the Buffalo Bandettes on Twitter at Bandettes or on Instagram or their Facebook page as well. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, is brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call again at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme, aka CDP, sent you there as well. And that's about it, guys. Again, also, before I wrap it up, Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded to iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Stitcher, Tuned In, and Podbean. Normally, I do that right after my podcast, but guys, I have another commitment at 12 o'clock with Rogers TV, doing camera work today for the Guelph Storm, Sault Ste. Marie game, and it's a teddy bear game here at the Sleeman Center. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that broadcast. 2 o'clock start, but I have to be at the arena at 12. So I will download this podcast show with Lauren Kirchmyer to my audio platforms tonight when I get home as well. And that's about it, guys. Again, thank you to Lauren Kirchmyer for coming on, the program coordinator for the Buffalo Bandettes. And I look forward to going down to another Bandits game this season and also a Toronto Rock game as well. Good luck to the Bandits tonight and also the Bills and Sabres. I hope everybody has a great day and enjoy the sports. And we'll talk to you guys Monday night at 6 o'clock with Jason Furman, and we're going to talk National Football League and his 2 podcast shows that he's the host of as well. Again, thank you to Lauren Kirchmyer from the Buffalo Bandits for coming on today, and we'll see you guys Monday at 6 o'clock for Season 5, Episode 9 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Have a great day, everybody, and weekend. Talk to you soon.